That final piece of the career Grand Slam would be a huge thing for me. You take things for granted, but when it gets taken away, you realize how much you enjoy it.
I did what I needed to do.
I still desire to strive for it.
5 golfers Tiger Woods technically tortured. When you think about Tiger Woods, you probably picture dominance, majors, and that iconic red shirt. But what you might not realize is how his reign didn't just elevate golf, it destroyed careers. Tiger didn't just beat his rivals, he broke them. He forced world-class players to abandon their natural games, question their own greatness, and watch their legacies get erased in real time. This isn't a story about Tiger's wins. This is about the players he left behind, the ones who paid the price for competing in his era. And the cost was brutal. Let's talk about what happened when 5 elite golfers went head-to-head with a force of nature they couldn't stop, no matter how hard they tried. Tiger Woods didn't just dominate golf during his peak from the late 1990s through the late 2000s. He warped it. His presence created what we can call competitive dysmorphia, where even the best players in the world felt inadequate. Their world-class games suddenly weren't enough. Tiger forced them into a state of technical torture, making them change swings, chase distance, and play styles that didn't fit their DNA. And the psychological destruction was even worse. These players accepted second place as their ceiling. They watched their dreams get stolen tournament after tournament. Some of them literally broke their bodies trying to keep up. The Tiger effect wasn't just about winning. It was about forcing everyone else to play his game instead of their own. And when they did, they lost themselves. Phil Mickelson is the perfect place to start. Lefty is one of the most talented golfers ever. With hands so good, people called them the greatest in history. He won 6 majors and made the Hall of Fame. But Phil's career is defined by what he didn't win, and most of that blame falls on Tiger. Phil Mickelson spent 270 weeks ranked as the #2 golfer in the world. That's over 5 years of being objectively the second best player on the planet. And every single one of those 270 weeks was spent looking up at Tiger Woods. In almost any other era, Phil would have been #1 for years. But Tiger created a mathematical gap so large that even when Phil won multiple tournaments back-to-back, he couldn't overtake him. Phil never reached #1 during his prime because Tiger refused to let him. This wasn't just about rankings, it was about legacy. Phil is remembered as the eternal runner-up. He finished second in majors 12 times, a modern era record, and many of those losses came directly at Tiger's hands. The 2002 US Open at Bethpage Black is the perfect example. This was supposed to be Phil's moment. The New York crowds loved him. It was his birthday week. Fans were singing happy birthday on the back 9. Tiger looked vulnerable early in the final round. Phil birdied the 13th hole to get within 2 strokes. The energy was insane, but Tiger didn't collapse. He stabilized. And Phil, riding the emotional wave, bogeyed the 16th and 17th holes. The charge died. Phil finished second again. Tiger didn't just beat him. He stole the moment, the birthday, and the crowd. That tournament reinforced the idea that Phil could play heroic, emotional golf and still lose to Tiger's robotic efficiency. It crushed him. The label of best player never to win a major hung around Phil's neck like a weight until 2004. But the torture went deeper than scoreboards. Tiger forced Phil to change his game. Phil was naturally a finesse player with an unbelievable short game, but Tiger introduced bomb and gouge golf, overpowering courses with extreme ball speed. To compete, Phil had to chase distance. He admitted it himself, saying Tiger pushed him to train more and swing harder. This pursuit of power made Phil wilder off the tee. It led to catastrophic driving errors in key moments, like the 72nd hole at Winged Foot in 2006. If you're enjoying this breakdown of how Tiger technically tortured his rivals, make sure you subscribe and drop a comment telling me which golfer got it the worst. Without Tiger, Phil's legacy would look completely different. Historical analysis suggests Phil would have won the 2002 US Open, where he was the only other player at par or better. He likely would have won the 2001 Masters, where he finished third, just 3 shots back of Tiger. In this alternate timeline, Phil achieves the career Grand Slam and finishes with maybe 10 to 12 major championships. He's in the pantheon with Walter Hagen and Ben Hogan. Instead, he's the king of the almosts. That's Tiger's doing. Ernie Els might have suffered even worse than Phil. If Phil fought back with flash and fire, Ernie bore the brunt of Tiger's peak performance with quiet resignation. Ernie, known as the Big Easy for his smooth, rhythmic swing, was physically and technically Tiger's closest peer in the year 2000, and that proximity only made the beatings more brutal. The year 2000 is considered the greatest single season in golf history, produced by Tiger Woods. For Ernie Els, it was a year of nightmares. Ernie played arguably the best golf of his life in 2000. That golf would have won Player of the Year honors in almost any other season. Instead, he finished runner-up to Tiger in 3 of the 4 major championships that year. At the Mercedes Championship, Ernie matched Tiger shot for 72 holes, both finishing at 16 under par. In the playoff, Tiger hit a 40-foot putt for eagle. Ernie lost. That set the tone that even perfection wasn't enough. Then came the US Open at Pebble Beach, the most technically torturous event in golf golf history. Ernie shot +3 and finished as the runner-up. Tiger shot -12. The margin was 15 strokes. To finish second by 15 strokes is a psychological dismantling. Ernie described the experience as if Tiger was playing a different tournament entirely, as he said if you put Tiger in the mix, he's just too good. The technical torture here was the realization that Ernie's best game was mathematically irrelevant. He wasn't losing because he choked. He was losing because Tiger had access to higher plane of performance. Then at the Open Championship, Ernie finished at 11 under par, tied for second. Tiger finished at 19 under, another 8-stroke blowout where Ernie watched history from the passenger seat. The psychological scar tissue from this era shows up in Ernie's words nearly 2 decades later. Reflecting on Tiger's resurgence in 2018, Ernie said, "I'm just glad he's playing like I know he can play to validate me. Validate me, Phil and VJ." This quote reveals deep insecurity. Ernie felt a desperate need for the modern generation to see Tiger's greatness firsthand, to retroactively justify his own losses. He needed the world to know they weren't bad players. Tiger was just special. This is the hallmark of a psychologically dominated competitor. Tiger also forced Ernie to abandon his natural game. Ernie had what many called the perfect golf swing, a model of tempo and sequence. But the pressure to keep up with Tiger's power forced even the Big Easy to tinker. The mental strain of needing to press for birdies on every hole forced Ernie out of his unnatural game management style. He couldn't play conservative golf. He knew Tiger was capable of making birdies from the rough. So Ernie took on pins he shouldn't have, leading to mistakes that made Tiger look even more invincible. In a Tiger-free world, the 2000 US Open and 2000 Open Championship likely belonged to Ernie. Analysts estimate without Tiger, Ernie would have claimed 6 to 7 majors, elevating him from a Hall of Famer to a candidate for the top 5 players of all time. Instead, he's remembered as the primary victim of the Tiger Slam. Vijay Singh is unique among Tiger's victims because he actually managed to dethrone Tiger from the world #1 spot in 2004. But the cost of this rebellion was massive. The relationship between the two was marked by personal animosity and physical exhaustion. The psychological warfare between Vijay and Tiger was epitomized by the 2000 President's Cup. Before their Sunday singles match, Vijay's caddy, Paul Tesori, wore a cap embroidered with the phrase "Tiger Who" on the back. This was meant to unsettle Tiger. The tactic backfired spectacularly. Tiger entered a state of cold fury. He demolished Vijay 2-1, playing the final 13 holes in 7 under par. Tiger effectively iced out Vijay for years following this incident. Every time Vijay was paired with Tiger after that, it wasn't just a golf match. It was a personal confrontation. In 2004, Vijay achieved the unthinkable. He won 9 times that season and took the world #1 spot, ending Tiger's record streak of 264 consecutive weeks at the top. But this victory came at a massive cost. To beat Tiger, Vijay had to outwork the hardest worker in golf. Vijay was famous for his grueling range sessions, hitting balls for hours before and after rounds. This regimen was driven by the knowledge that nothing less than perfection would hold off Tiger. The technical torture was the requirement of absolute obsession. Tiger, naturally gifted with more speed and a younger body, regained the top spot in 2005 and held it for another 5 years. Vijay's brief reign only highlighted the durability of Tiger's dominance. Vijay's decline was swift, arguably accelerated by the sheer exhaustion of trying to hold off a resurgent, angry Woods. Vijay was also cast as the villain in the Tiger narrative. The media often ignored Vijay even when he was playing well, focusing entirely on Tiger. This lack of recognition is a form of legacy torture. Vijay's achievements were frequently framed as Tiger losing rather than Vijay winning. When Vijay won the Deutsche Bank Championship in 2004 to take the #1 ranking, the headline was about the end of Tiger's streak, not the beginning of Vijay's reign. David Duval represents the most tragic story among Tiger's rivals. For a brief window in 1999, Duval wasn't just Tiger's equal, he was arguably better. He snatched the world #1 ranking, shot a historic 59, and won the 2001 Open Championship. But Duval's collapse is widely attributed to the technical torture of trying to redesign his game to match Tiger's potential. Duval's decline is a textbook example of the Tiger effect manifesting as self-sabotage. Despite reaching the pinnacle with his own unique swing, Duval felt his best golf wasn't enough to beat Tiger's best golf over the long term. This led him to pursue swing changes and body transformations that were largely unnecessary. Duval began an intense fitness regimen to match Tiger's athletic physique. The rapid change in body composition altered his swing biomechanics and reportedly contributed to chronic back injuries. Duval also began tinkering with his release pattern to gain marginal improvements. In doing so, he dismantled the idiosyncratic moves that made him great. He lost the ability to square the club face consistently, leading to a two-way miss that destroys a professional golfer's confidence. Duval was the first great player of the era to fall victim to the idea that he needed to fundamentally change his DNA. The pressure triggered severe physical and mental responses. He began suffering from vertigo, a condition often exacerbated by stress. Duval admitted that after winning the 2001 Open, he felt a sense of emptiness rather than fulfillment. In 1999, Duval and Tiger were viewed as equals. By 2003, Duval had plummeted to 86th in the world. The speed of this descent is directly correlated to the Tiger Slam era. Watching Tiger hold all 4 major trophies simultaneously while Duval was playing his absolute best likely created a sense of futility. The realization that he could be perfect and still be second broke his competitive spirit. In a Tiger-free timeline, a healthy Duval is projected to have won multiple majors. Instead, Duval serves as a cautionary tale of technical torture, the danger of fixing what isn't broken in a desperate attempt to catch a ghost. Rory McIlroy represents the second generation of Tiger's victims. Unlike Phil or Ernie, who battled Tiger in his prime, Rory grew up idolizing him, but as Rory ascended to the top, he found himself facing the zombie Tiger, the 2018 to 2019 version of Woods that possessed diminished physical skills but enhanced psychological weaponry. The psychological hold Tiger exerted over Rory was made explicit through nicknames. Tiger reportedly referred to Rory as the Intimidator in a sarcastic text. Rory rejected this with a telling quote, saying, "How can I intimidate Tiger Woods? The guy's got 80 wins." This established a clear hierarchy. Rory viewed himself as subordinate to the legend. This psychological fragility was brutally exposed at the 2018 Tour Championship at East Lake. Rory played in the final pairing with Tiger, who was seeking his first victory in 5 years. The atmosphere was electric, with the crowd entirely on Tiger's side. Rory withered under the heat. He shot a final round 74, while Tiger marched to a 71 and the victory. Rory later admitted that Tiger was worth half a shot a day, simply due to the chaos he generated. Rory has fallen into technical torture reminiscent of Duval and Phil, the pursuit of distance to match the legend of Tiger Woods. Rory has admitted to chasing higher swing speeds, trying to reach 180+ miles per hour ball speed. This obsession often comes at the expense of his wedge play and consistency. Rory's attempt to replicate Tiger's dominance through power has arguably extended his major championship drought to a full decade. Finally, Rory suffers from the legacy torture of the Grand Slam. He needs only the Masters to complete the career Grand Slam, a feat Tiger accomplished at age 24. The burden of being dubbed the next Tiger created an impossible standard. Every year at Augusta, he is playing against the ghost of Tiger's 1997 and 2001 performances. This psychological weight has contributed to his repeated Sunday failures at the Masters. The negative impact of Tiger Woods on these 5 golfers was systemic. Tiger utilized specific mechanisms to dismantle his opponents. The first was the Tiger tax, the psychological intimidation factor. Rory's estimation that Tiger was worth 2 shots a tournament simply by being present is a quantifiable metric of psychological torture. For rivals like Phil and VJ, playing with Tiger meant playing in a hurricane. They had to execute precision shots while thousands of fans were moving, screaming, or rushing to the next hole. The sight of Tiger in his red shirt on Sunday was a trigger for anxiety in his opponents. The second mechanism was Tiger proofing, the technical disruption of course architecture. To combat Tiger's length, courses began lengthening holes, narrowing fairways, and growing the rough. While intended to stop Tiger, these changes often hurt his rivals more. Tiger had the strength to gouge the ball out of deep rough. Finesse players like Phil or precision players like Duval did not. The ultimate torture is historical, the erasure of legacy. Without Tiger, Phil likely wins 10 to 12 majors and achieves the career Grand Slam. Ernie claims 6 to 7 majors and becomes a candidate for the top 5 players of all time. VJ becomes the undisputed king of the mid-2000s. Duval maintains Hall of Fame longevity. And Rory dominates without the next Tiger shadow. The career of Tiger Woods was a singularity event in golf history. While it elevated the sport's financial profile, it exacted a heavy toll on the individuals tasked with competing against him. Phil Mickelson, Ernie Els, VJ Singh, David Duval, and Rory McIlroy were not merely beaten opponents. They were the primary victims of a competitive hegemony that bordered on cruelty. Phil was forced to live in a shadow that obscured his own genius, forever the number 2. Ernie was compelled to question his own validity as an athlete. VJ was isolated by a rivalry that turned personal and physically exhausting. Duval broke his own body and swing trying to touch the sun, and Rory inherited the crushing expectations left in the wake. The torture described here was not physical abuse, but the relentless, suffocating pressure of an opponent who refused to regress to the mean. Tiger Woods did not just win tournaments. He consumed the oxygen of the sport for 2 decades. The legacy of his rivals is defined not by what they achieved, but by what they were denied. The alternate histories where these 5 men are kings, rather than the princes who waited for a coronation that never came. Golf is a different sport because of Tiger Woods, but for these 5 players, that difference came at a cost they're still paying. Subscribe and let me know in the comments who you think suffered the most.